Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And I do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, with as little as 15 hours worth of effort, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. On today's Anything Goes Friday, I've got a great guest joining me all the way from Australia. Now, it's currently 7 a.m. there on a Saturday morning, and my guest still agreed to do the show. He's a regular audience member on the John A. McCabe Show and usually watches us during his morning breakfast. Nobby Kleinmen is not your average business owner. Being in business almost 3 decades, he brings a diverse wealth of experience to the table as an expert within the financial planning industry, internet marketing, outsourcing, and business development space. I met Nobby several years ago in San Diego at a marketing event where I meet so many of my guests. I would classify Nobby as the extrovert in the crowd. He's the guy that knows just about everyone in the place, or is known by just about everyone in the place, especially if you're a lady. Oh, Nobby loves the ladies. Having been officially retired after he sold his business in 2006, he took some time off and traveled the world, but found himself bored, and within a couple of years, found himself looking for something to do. Now, in 2008, Nobby decided he wanted to get back into the money business that he left years ago, but not on the regulated side through companies. He wanted to help people with their personal money management. Now, after spending some time with his clients, the same question was being asked by the females over and over again. So Nobby did what most entrepreneurs would do. He ended up developing his own software program based on that one question he was always being asked by the women who wanted to know how to manage their daily money. Now, developing the world's first complete program to help women manage their money, eliminate debt, and secure their financial future is one of his major achievements. Now, Nobby is the author of an international bestseller, Want More Money, Honey, which is a complete, no fluff, quick, and easy to read book for managing personal financial matters. His latest release, Rich Girl, Poor Girl, is also an Amazon #1 bestseller. Now, Nobby is strongly committed to helping others in the field of business and entrepreneurship. His greatest passion is helping people to wipe out their debts and prepare for a financially secure future. Now, although Nobby has spent the majority of his time in the financial services industry, he started and ran an outsourcing company in the Philippines for a few years. Now, unfortunately, he had to shut the business down, and during today's show, we'll find out why he started that business in the first place and what caused him to close up shop. So be sure to stick around, because when I come back, we're going to chat with Nobby Kleinmen on the Anything Goes show for the John A. McCabe Show. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Today it's Friday, which means anything goes, and it's a fitting time to have my guest on the show, because if you know Nobby, you know that anything goes could become a reality on today's show. Nobby Kleinmen has been online since 1994. When his company got access to the internet. Of the 60 financial advisors in his divisional office, he was the second one with his own desktop computer. That's dating you, Nobby. And eventually, first with a laptop. And I'm sure that was more like a brick, a big suitcase. When Microsoft Publisher became available, he set up a newsletter which all the advisors subscribed to and sent to their clients. Now, in 2004, he helped his whole office go paperless, which upset management but made the auditors and compliance people very happy. In 2006, Nobby ended up selling his practice and took a couple of years off traveling globally and throughout the Aussie Outback, and also spent some time renovating and landscaping around his home. In 2008, he started to get bored with nothing stimulating to do, so he decided to get back into the business of money. But this time not the regulated side through companies, but by helping individuals create a plan for managing their own money and their finances. After making that decision, Nobby has developed his own software program, the only one like it in the world at the time. He's written several books, including some international #1 bestsellers, and set up an outsourcing company only to close it 3 years later. So now he's back doing what he wants, which is helping people eliminate their debts and grow their wealth. So please give it up with likes, loves, shares, and a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons across the screen for my guest today, Nobby Kleinmen. How you doing, Nobby?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
Hey, I'm alive. How much better can it be?
Excellent. It's breakfast time there in Australia.
Yep, just finished my breakfast, finished my cup of coffee, and I'm delighted to be on here with you, John.
Excellent. And it's what, Saturday morning there, I believe.
It is. It's tomorrow in your world.
It is. I'm like talking in the future.
You are. Would you like to get the lotto numbers for last week?
Please, please tell me the lotto numbers for tonight, for tonight's draw. Then maybe I'll come down and visit you.
That'd be good. You're welcome.
Excellent. So, Nobby, you've been a guest on the show, or in the audience for many episodes. So you know that the first thing we like to do is a speed round of questions. There's nothing to be tested on. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just for a way for the crowd to actually get to know you a little bit more, a little bit about your personal, a little bit about your professional. So
Absolutely.
Nobby, what's the book that impacted your life the most?
Do you know, when I was very young, I'm not a real reader, but I read Miller 18. But from a business perspective, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Okay. When you were a young boy, who was your celebrity crush?
Is it all right to say Elvis?
It's okay. I'm not going to judge.
Annette Funicello.
So what is either a book, a podcast, or a show that you're into right now?
Oh God. Do you know what, John? Yours.
Okay. Well, you're a regular in the audience, that's for sure, and I really appreciate that. And you're always giving great feedback or great questions, not like that other guest that comes on or is in the audience on a regular basis that just harasses me.
Foreigners.
Yeah. So, Nobby, are you currently working with any coaches?
No, I haven't had any coaches yet. I act like a sponge. I get on and I read a lot of things that are going on, and I'll absorb and discharge. So the stuff that really gets me sits in there, and I might just keep reading and following them.
Yeah.
Until enough is enough and they're gone. But rest of the time, just a sponge.
Excellent. And what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, Ben-Hur. No, sorry, Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
Lawrence of Arabia. There you go.
They're both very good movies.
Yeah.
Are you currently involved in any masterminds?
No, I would dearly love to be. I know that Everett and Andy have got a mastermind going, which I would love to be involved in. Ed and Mike have one going, are involved. I'd love to get involved in masterminds. In fact, I've just been invited to be a speaker to a group of young people on, call it the underprivileged side of town, to go and talk to them about money and futures and things like that.
Very good.
So being involved that way.
Excellent. So name a person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
Albert Einstein.
Very nice. And what's your favorite type of vacation out of these two, beach or adventure tour?
Been four-wheel driving all around Australia in the outback, and absolutely loved it. But when you get the blend of the water and the outback, absolutely can't beat it.
The best business advice you ever received?
Leverage.
And out of these, last questions, two-parter, out of these questions, which is your most favorite? Water, beer, or wine? Or pizza, wings, and salad?
Wine and pizza, red wine.
Excellent. So, Nobby, your background, going back a few years when you first got started, your background was in the financial services industry, but it seemed like from the stuff that you had sent me that you were quite the innovator. You set up some systems to make life a little bit easier in the office. So can you touch on some of the things that you put in place and why you actually put those in place?
You know, right from the very start when I joined the industry, I started on Monday, and on Friday the share market crashed, and that was 1987. It wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with it.
Just a coincidence, right?
I didn't break it seriously. But the one thing that it taught me was the way people thought. And their thinking was, I don't want anything to do with the share market. So, I don't want to put my money in there for my retirement fund. And my thinking was, you're crazy. It's a total opposite. So quite often I found people would do what the rest of people would do, and their thinking and their mentality was always wrong. The opposite, they could get in early and win. And this extended throughout my whole business period. We totally changed the way that we ran our office compared to other people. I worked on the basis that if there was a clone of me in an office next door, why would people come to me instead of going to the person next door?
Right.
In 2000, we set up our office so it went paperless. So, and I'd been researching this for about 3 or 4 years already. We took every scrap of paper, every file that we had, scanned everything and put it onto a hard drive. Now, this was unheard of. And this is while the insurance companies were still using microfiche.
Right.
So they said, you can't do this. And I said, why not? The tax office has done it. You guys are microfiche, you don't use paper, and all this sort of stuff. So they didn't have a leg to stand on. So when the auditors came into the office, they said, we want to see the last 10 clients. We'd sit them down in front of a screen and say, there it is. Open it up. Go for your life. They loved it.
Yeah.
They said, this is brilliant. We wish everybody had their system set up like this. So we sent out newsletters right from the very beginning. As we said before, Publisher became available. This was when DOS was there.
So how are you delivering them? Like email? That was back when everybody opened their email?
No. Forget about email. This was snail mail. I even bought a machine.
You didn't email it. You just sent it by regular mail.
Wow.
Nice.
Absolutely, yeah. So so what happened was we would get an A5 sheet, and when everybody else on board in the office jumped in, there were 60 other advisors. So I put it all together within Publisher, but we had our main A5 sent off with our banner already on the top, so it would have Nobby, Kleinmen, or it would have A Grauman or whoever it was there.
Yeah.
And then we just sent them back to get overprinted with the content for the newsletter. Then they would come back and we'd end up getting them folded, putting it into envelopes, mailing the whole lot off. So very labour intensive back in those days. So thank goodness for newsletters on email and stuff.
Very nice. Were you doing any specific copywriting when you were sending the newsletters, or it was just all very just informative?
It was just informative stuff. You couldn't keep selling product all the time. You had to come up with a reason. So what I did was I said to people, give them a story. Give me a claim that you've had a client who's had a claim, who's had an injury, and because of their insurance policy, it reinforced the value of having it. And these guys are thinking, oh, gee, that's not a bad idea, So they don't even think of that today. It's crazy. Frustrates me.
So that's pretty much like telling those hero stories. Like, this is what happened in my life, and because I was working with these guys, here's how much better my life is because of that.
Absolutely. Storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to get people to listen and become involved, and always tell it. I've heard Mike Koenig saying this. I've heard everybody saying it. Talk as if you're talking directly to that person. So if I'm talking directly to you, John, this is what it means to you,
right?
And how you should feel. And that gives you a warm and fuzzy feeling, if it's, and Sandy or Anne or whoever is listening and watching, this is all about you. Anything I give you, extend it through to you, take it on board, make it yours, walk away and use it in whichever way it benefits you and your friends and family.
Excellent. So what prompted you to sell the business in 2006?
I'm a rebel at heart. I hate authority. I shouldn't say hate, that's a strong word.
Yeah.
I sincerely dislike, vehemently dislike authority. So when the rules kept changing in the insurance industry and compliance became tougher, auditing became tougher, I was spending 90% of my time doing paperwork instead of going out and seeing clients.
Mm-hmm.
I loved my work so much that on a Friday night I'd be looking very despondent, and I would be like, what's the matter with you? Well, tomorrow's Saturday and I've got no one to talk to. And Sunday night I'd be going, yes, And it's like, what's the matter with you? Tomorrow's Monday. I've got people to talk to. You know, you're crazy. But I loved what I was doing. I really, because it was benefiting people.
Right.
I knew that if I went to someone's house and something happened to them, their family was taken care of financially. You know, and there's a number of occasions. There's nothing ever so touching as when you go out and you personally deliver a claim check for a death. You know, and what's even worse is if you go out and you see a client that you know is dying in a hospital bed, who's laying there with a brain tumor, and they're just, you know, they're not even responding or anything like that. And you know where it's going, and the family is sitting there, and you're going to come back eventually with a check. And you walk away and you say, I should have done more. They need more money. They should have done more.
Right.
But it's not my fault. It was theirs. They said, no, we don't want any more, and that's fine. At least they've done something, and that's better than nothing.
Yeah, so when you ended up spending the 90% of your time doing paperwork, and you got out of, or prevented you from, you know, all of that personal engagement, I can definitely see how you would start to not like the business quite as much. Because I know you're quite the extrovert. You like to go out and mingle and enjoy other people's company. So taking that away from an extrovert is almost like death, really.
Well, see, I would have always gone the opposite, and thought I was an introvert rather than an extrovert. I love meeting people, but I'm not the type of person who gets out there and jumps up on stage, although that's probably changed recently. Since, I suppose, going to America, and particularly to Mike's events, you know, Pam's events and things like that, and seeing how things are done, perhaps that's what was missing in my life, and that's where I needed to be. And now I'm out there on the world stage. So, yeah, since getting out of the insurance industry, the world's become my stage, I guess.
Very nice.